When this company went out of business, who handled that?
Erica?
Okay. Had Erica been working there?
Yes.
What did she do for the company when she was working there?
She was our receptionist. She lined up our work, acquired our work, things of that nature.
So was she the only one that handled, well, I'll use the phrase dissolution of this company?
Mainly, yes.
Okay. Did you have anything to do with the dissolution of the company?
I helped Erica gather the things that they were selling in direction of Chad.
All right. So the company's, let's call it physical property was sold off?
Correct.
Were there any bills to be paid?
As far as business,
Yes.
that I don't know.
Okay. As a result of these things being sold off, did you receive any of the proceeds of the sale of these, I'll call them assets?
No, I did not.
If I could have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Judge, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, Cross? Desiree, if you don't mind. Thank you. Thanks, Desiree.
Good afternoon, Mr. Stefanko.
Hello?
My name is Felicia Easter, and I'm going to ask you some questions on cross-examination.
Okay.
I tend to talk fast sometimes, so if there is a question you don't understand, will you please let me know? Or if you need me to repeat a question, please let me know.
Okay.
I believe one of the last questions you were asked on direct was about the sale of the Cobb Cable Company, the dissolution of that company, and if you received any proceeds from that company. I believe you stated you did not.
Correct.
The proceeds from that company, at that time, you were living at 15007 Mount Eaton Road, correct?
Yes.
You were taking showers there and using the electricity there, is that fair to say?
Yes.
The proceeds from that company, there was a mortgage on that house as well, isn't that correct?
Yes.
And the proceeds from that company, is it fair to say, went to help pay for those bills, the water bill, the electric bill, the mortgage?
That I don't know. I was not in charge of the bills, ma'am.
Okay, good point. So you did not pay them, correct?
At that time, no.
Okay, but the bills got paid.
Correct.
Okay, and the only other adult in the house would have been Erica Stefanko, correct?
Yes.
And you stated she got the money from the dissolution of the Cobb Cable Company, correct?
That is my understanding.
You also, well, I want to talk about the affair you had with Erica Stefanko. Did that start before or after Chad Cobb went to prison? Or let's just start with got arrested.
After?
It started after he got arrested in June of 2012, but before he was sentenced and went to prison. That's a fair statement, correct?
I'm not sure the exact date that he was sentenced.
Okay. But Erica Stefanko was pregnant at his sentencing, correct?
Again, I don't know the date that he was sentenced.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. He was sentenced in February 2013,
She may have been.
which means the affair started, as you put it, after he got arrested in June and before he went to prison or got sentenced and went to prison in February of 2013. That's correct?
Yes.
That is approximately 9 months exactly. So your testimony is that, I just want you to think about that, the date of birth of your smallest child, LS, and your testimony today in front of the jurors, that your affair with Erica Stefanko started after Chad was arrested for the incident that occurred June of 2012.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you grew up with Chad, correct?
Yes.
Went to middle school, elementary school, high school together, the Chippewa school system?
Everything except for high school, yes.
Okay. And Chad gave you a job. He was your employer, correct?
Yes.
And he also gave you keys to his house, correct?
Yes.
And the way you repay Chad is to have an affair with his wife as soon as he goes to jail.
Objection to form.
Overruled.
I'm sorry, what is your question?
And that's probably me talking a little fast. I said, you grew up with Chad, and I'll take it bit by bit. You grew up with Chad, correct? I think you said you were 4, he was 6,
Yes.
okay? Middle school, elementary school together,
Yes.
and you just stated you went to separate high schools, correct?
He went to a vocational school.
Okay? And he gave you employment. At one point, he was your primary employer, isn't that correct?
Yes, I left other employment to come on full-time with him, that is correct.
Okay? And he also gave you keys to his house.
Yes.
And you would have to agree that there's an element of trust. You just don't give anyone keys to your house. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
And the last question was, you thank him or repay him by having an affair with his wife when he gets arrested.
You're asking if I started seeing Erica after he was arrested? Yes, I did.
You also stated that in the beginning you were I believe you said partner, and then you were demoted?
More or less.
Okay. How much startup money did you put in Cobb Cable Company?
I don't have that answer. It wasn't just monetary money, it was my time, my commitment, and my dedication that warranted that.
And you were paid for your time, your dedication, and all of that. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
As a regular employee would be paid for their time and dedication to a job. Isn't that correct?
I guess so.
Did you buy any supplies, any tools?
On occasion.
Okay. Now, I want to talk about you having a vested interest in this case. Is it fair to say you have a vested interest in this case? Your wife is sitting on trial. And I'll just stop there. Is it fair to say you have a vested interest in this case?
Explain what you mean by vested interest.
The outcome of this case affects your life directly.
Yes, it does.
Okay. So you yourself would do anything to help Erica Stefanko out.
No, I wouldn't.
Would you violate a court order?
No, I wouldn't.
So you wouldn't violate a court order that you're aware of to help out Erica Stefanko?
Correct.
Are you aware that the judge instructed everyone there's a separation of witnesses?
No.
You're saying Attorney O'Brien did not tell you there was a separation of witnesses at the beginning of this trial.
I was not aware of that.
So you're saying you were not aware that you were not supposed to look at, watch, Google, Facebook, or watch Court TV live stream this trial. That's what your testimony is right now.
That's what I'm saying, ma'am.
And you did that. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Did you watch the whole trial?
No.
What parts did you watch?
I watched the opening statement of both the prosecution and the defense.
Did you watch Chad Cobb? And you're saying that's the only part you watched?
On one other occasion, I watched the court TV preview of what happened that day.
And what happened that day? Did you see Chad Cobb's testimony?
They talked about his testimony.
And isn't it true that you spoke to the defendant, Erica Stefanko, on the phone about the testimony?
No, there was no direct discussion about Chad's testimony.
Just last
I was
about-
asked if I had watched any of it, and I told her I had, because I wanted to know what she was going through in this courtroom.
Isn't it true that she told you should watch Chad's testimony?
No,
She didn't tell you, she didn't urge or encourage you to watch Chad's testimony?
no.
When you said the court TV was recapping Chad's testimony, did they show his face or have him up on the screen, or were they just commenting on it?
They showed his face.
And then that's how you were able to see his hair, and you two were joking about how you looked on there?
Correct.
Is that where you learned? You know what, strike that, girl. Okay. Mr. Stefanko, on direct examination, you were asked about the calls that you received from Chad Cobb on the night, actually would have been the morning of June 21st, 2012, correct?
Yes.
And you stated that Chad told, and he asked you to collect his belongings and bring it to him, correct?
Yes.
Now, today, as you sit here in the trial for Erica Stefanko, that would appear to be damning statements towards Chad Cobb, as if he did this by himself. And you were also asked that he was only to bring his clothing, correct?
Correct.
Now, that conversation, again, like I said, would have taken place June, the early mornings of the 21st, 2012, correct?
Yes.
Erica Stefanko has been sitting in jail for this case.
I am
Now,
well
at
aware of that.
any time after June, did you call Detective Hitchings and tell him this information?
No.
Since Erica Stefanko got arrested at any time, did you call Detective Hitchings and tell him this information?
No.
But on that point, Chad Cobb's already convicted of this, so what would that matter? I am glued to my television set. I hope you are too. I promise you won't miss a minute. We're going to get you back in the courtroom exactly where we are leaving off. This is the defense case and the defendant's husband giving some testimony. What's next? Stay tuned to Court TV and find out.